لله الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم الذين ينفقون في السراء والضراء والكاظمين الغيظ والعافين عن الناس والله يحب المحسنين صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. My dear respected listeners, the verse of Quran, the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I chose to recite before you today, although were not revealed in particular conjunction with this month of Ramadan, they still are very beautiful verses that we should particularly ponder over in this month of Ramadan. The first part of this ayah talks about spending in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala secretly and publicly. And in times of meagerness, in times of scarcity, and in times of plenty. And the second part talks about controlling your anger. And both of these things particularly relate to us in the month of Ramadan especially. We know, we must have heard about the Prophet ﷺ that when Ramadan would come, the Prophet ﷺ would become the person who would be more, the Sahaba have related it, that the Prophet ﷺ would spend so excessively in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, would give to others so much, as if, and if not beyond, the winds that carry heavy rains, that when they come, they immediately start pouring down with heavy rains. The Prophet ﷺ used to be like that in spending and giving to others. One particular charity, when we talk about spending in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or infaq fi sabilillah, Islam has defined, the Sharia, the fiqh has divided into two categories. And the first one is the obligatory one, the necessary one, the compulsory one, that has been made a farz upon us, that has been made one of the pillars of our structure of the practical aspect of deen, which is to give in zakah. What is zakah? 1/40 or 2.5%, 2.5% of our excess wealth. Now the Sharia has defined excess wealth, something that you are using for your life. For example, your house. For example, your car. Those things the Sharia does not call, or the food stuff that you have stored in your home, for example, for your use, personal use. The Sharia does not count that as excess. However, things that we have beyond our needs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so merciful that first He has set a very small amount that we have to spend, and then even that is not on something that we are using for our needs. only that which we have stored or which is beyond our needs. For example, when we have stuff that we are using for business, we may have bought a home or a property that we do not plan on using. We have just the sole purpose is to buy it, maybe rent it out, or maybe sell it later on. Similarly, gold and silver, which is never our need, it is a thing of luxury. So on and so forth. Bonds, prize bonds, shares, those kind of things. Or money which is beyond our basic necessity. And the Sharia has defined it as, has judged it in terms of silver. 612 grams of silver, the value thereof, if anybody has more than that roughly, then they are supposed to give 2.5% of what they have. Roughly it comes to these days about $286, $285. If somebody has that kind of money or that kind of things beyond their need, then they have to give zakat on it. The other thing that we should understand about zakat is that it does not become obligatory the moment you have that kind of money. It does not become obligatory the moment you get that kind of money. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for zakah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has developed a system where a year has to pass. So you have to, for example, this is called nisab, I get nisab, this kind of wealth, on the 10th of Ramadan. Now, for the first time in my life, whenever I get that kind of money or that kind of wealth, I don't have to give zakat on that very day. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants me to wait and let one full year pass. It's called hawlani hawl. One full year has to pass. After that Hijri year has passed, on the 10th of Ramadan, I'll assess my situation again. Do I still have more excess money or property belongings than that nisab? If I do, then I have to give 2.5% of whatever I have now. Bear this in mind. When calculating zakat, some people confuse it. I was amazed when I was teaching this weekend class. I was amazed how many people confuse this. The whole year, you don't have to have that minimum wealth. Only on the first time that you got it, and one full year later. So you may have gone down that level of nisab. You may have gone below that level of nisab during that year, but at the end of that year, if you have that amount of money, then you are going to calculate 2.5% of whatever you have and give zakat in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If somebody becomes bankrupt, if somebody goes down to zero, then they later on get that wealth again, then that day when they get this wealth, but this is about becoming really zero, having lost all your money. Otherwise, the first day you got nisab, you'll recalculate, you'll reassess your situation after 1 year has passed. This is only for zakat, okay? This is only for zakat, the passing of the year. There's another kind of spending which has been made obligatory by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon us in these days particularly, which is called sadaqatul fitr. Sadaqatul fitr. Whoever has that kind of wealth, they have to give it. For sadaqatul fitr, this condition of one full year does not have to pass. If somebody gets that kind of money before Eid Salah, a moment before Eid Salah, they have to give that kind of that sadaqatul fitr. What is sadaqatul fitr? Just to keep it short, it is $6 per person. This year, it is $6 per person. There's different standards. If somebody is better off, then they should give it more, according to the standard of the minimum is of wheat, then the more expensive one is of barley, then the other one is of dried grapes, kishmish, and it is for kishmish for dried grapes it is $45 per person. So that sadaqatul fitr has to be given no matter if the year has passed or not. And one who has it also has to give it for their children, everyone in their family. If their wife has that kind of money, she will give her own. Or a husband, if they are nice, which they should be, they can give it on behalf of their wife and their children. Same for zakat. Anyway, so that is obligatory spending. And the ulama have said that although, yes, the virtues of every first act increase 70 times more doing it in this month, we have connected zakat with this month. It is not so. Zakat is a year-round thing. Whoever has to pay zakat whenever, they should do so. They should not wait for Ramadan to come and then pay zakat. Because if everybody started spending only in Ramadan, what will happen to the poor people in the rest of the 11 months of the year? So we should spread out our zakat. The other way of spreading it out would be that we give some amount every month with the intention of zakat, and at the end of the year, when our time comes, we calculate how much we have spent the whole year, and whatever, if you have gone beyond it, subhanallah. If you have not, then whatever is remaining, pay that. So this is obligatory spending. But the Prophet ﷺ has said that there is spending beyond compulsory spending. There is infaq beyond what is farz. And that is to give in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even a little amount whenever and wherever we get a chance. Our mashayikh say that even if a person comes to your door begging, and you have a feeling that they might not use the money well that you give it to them. They might be habitual of asking. Even then, give them a little amount. Don't give them hundreds of dollars, but at least give them some money. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in the Quran, وَأَمَّا السَّائِلَ فَلَا تَنْهَرْ. When a beggar comes to you, when somebody comes to you in asking you, do not scold them. It is best that we give them some and do not turn them away empty-handed. When we know that we are spending and this person is really needy, or this cause is a really worthy cause, then we should spend, thinking that the Prophet ﷺ used to beat the heavy rain in spending, in this month particularly. All around us, if you look, we've talked about spending on individuals, giving to individuals in the past two khutbah. We should try to find out in our community who are the people who are in need. And there's always people. Don't think that this is the United States, so everybody is well off. No. There's people that keep their needs secret, and they are the more deserving of our spending. Similarly, religious institutions. We sometimes do not understand this, we sometimes do not realize, but they are doing the best to us. The highest favor that anybody can do, because they are safeguarding our iman. I'm not talking about big institutions, let alone the big institutions. Even this small institution, we have been around for 3 years. There have been multiple people here who are Muslims and have come and said that we were on the verge of losing our faith. We found this place close to us. We started to connect here, and we were protected. We were protected from going out, from being thrown out before the fold of Islam because of the environment. So my dear respected brothers, particularly living in this country, and in fact the thing is that living anywhere in this world, everybody's iman, everybody's faith is in a danger. It's constantly under threat. And our religious institutions are doing the biggest favor that anybody can do to us. They are protecting our faith. Prayer comes later on. If an organization provides for you a place where you can peacefully pray, that is something that comes after iman. When you have a place that is helping you stay in the fold of Islam, I say that's the biggest benefit that anybody can do to you. Whenever we spend in these causes, we should think that our money, although physically is going out of our account, but it is becoming permanent. It is becoming permanent. It is becoming eternal. When we spend in a masjid, there's so many virtues that we don't even think about. Of course, yes, it's a prayer place. Yes. People come and pray here. Every time the Imam says Allahu Akbar and there's 20, 30, 40 people that say Allahu Akbar behind that Imam, the person who spent even 50 cents, even a quarter, they get the reward of all that prayer. They get the reward of all that prayer. We don't know whose prayer is accepted, but we hope from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that when 20, 30 people are praying at one place, at least one of them will be accepted. And our ulama say that if in a gathering one's prayer is accepted, it is hope from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take the complete package and accept it. So our spending becomes much more useful, much more useful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the example of this. Somebody who spends their wealth in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is like a seed from which a sapling grows, from which there are 7 twigs, and in each twig grow 100 more seeds. This is the ayat of the Quran, more or less translation. One penny spent in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is guaranteeing that it at least becomes 700 times more. And if you do it in the month of Ramadan, we all know how many multiple folds it is rewarded. Not only for salah, when you have invested in the walls and the carpets and the environment of the masjid, the Prophet ﷺ has told us that a place where people gather regularly to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the angels stay there constantly. And they are there and they are waiting for people to gather and remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So every single time somebody says Allah, every single time somebody says La ilaha illallah, they themselves get a never-ending reward, plus the person who provided that space for them gets that reward. Similarly, a place where religious education is given. So many people come, so many people listen, very few people act upon it. This is the reality, truth of the matter. Very few people act upon it. But only if somebody comes to learn a chapter of deen, a topic of deen, with the intention of learning, they get, the Prophet ﷺ has said, they get the reward of 1,000 nawafil. Only for learning. It's not about acting upon it. When they actually start acting upon it, then the reward goes where nobody knows, to what level. So that person who comes, for example, if you are coming for Jummah, right? Before leaving our home or on our way, or even when you're sitting here, we consciously make this intention that we are going to learn at least something about our deen today while sitting here. You get a reward of 1,000 nawafil there and then. But imagine the reward of the person who spent to provide this environment. Their reward goes much beyond that. The other thing that ulama explain is that the person who's doing it actually may not be doing it with ikhlas, right? With a pure, clear, clean intention. But if you spend with a clean intention, and the beautiful thing about small sadaqat, we are spending $1, right? We are spending a quarter. We are putting in the box a little amount, $10, $20. Chances are that we will do it with sincerity of intention, because we are not spending a huge amount. When it becomes huge, our intentions start to become corrupt. So if you do it with a true intention, you get the reward. You get the reward, the reward that you are supposed to get. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us understanding. Then there have been people who come here and accept Islam, who come here and enter the fold of Islam. For life, whatever good deed that they do, for life, The person who even spent a single quarter, even a single penny, gets the reward, whatever good deeds that they do in their life. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant his understanding. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among the ones who spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I only quoted examples from this masjid because I work here. There's so many other masajid. Wherever you go, with whatever chance you find, and it's not restricted only to masajid, there's other kinds of places of public service that you should spend if they are run according to the Sharia of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You should spend expecting reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, particularly so in Ramadan, because everything is multiple folds. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us understanding. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to